There's a lot to learn in biology. It is what we call a content-heavy subject. And I said it right at the start, science is a language. And it's all about learning words that are specific to science. You may hear some of these words in normal life, but they tend to be wrong. They tend not to be the scientific definition of that word. Biology is somewhat different. Biology is learning new words for new content. And what I say to students is the way to start any new lesson, if it's in the sequence of lessons, if it's on one topic and we are doing communicable diseases, and just to remind you about communicable diseases, they are diseases that you can pass on from person to person. So we're doing communicable diseases. Now, we're going to have a look at something after that. Now, it doesn't matter what I'm going to do. I've been very vague. Something after that, meaning we're going to add on to the topic that we've already done. Before you do, you recap what you did the previous session. Otherwise, you will struggle. And I was having this conversation with year 11s and year 13s who've got their exams. And I said, look, it doesn't matter if you're 18 or 16 and you've got big exams coming. Our brains all work the same way. So what you do is you recap. And we're going to start with that. And I'm going to talk through what we did last lesson. And for about 15, 20 minutes, we're going to do last lesson's work, just to make sure you're used to the language. And then in the last half an hour, we're going to bolt onto that. We're going to add on the next aspect of communicable diseases. So just to go through it rather quickly, communicable diseases are diseases you can pass from one person to another. They're caused by pathogens. Now, the pathogens we're talking about are bacteria, viruses, fungi, and protists. And I created this pseudo mind map last session where living creatures are broken into two domains, eukaryotes and prokaryotes. But we're not looking at that. We're looking at the 5 kingdoms of living creatures. All life falls into these 5 kingdoms. We have animals, that is us, plants, trees, as an easy example, and grass, fungi, which we don't spend too much time on, but some really common ones are yeast, and the fungi that rot fruit. And I showed you this last week. This is a fungi, a fungus growing on some tomatoes. Okay, so you have animals, plants, fungi, which you're quite familiar with, and then you have protists. Oh, I missed an R out of that. Protist, protoctista, however you want to say it. The short version is protist. This is weird. It's a weird word that you've never come across before. Well, hopefully you have, because we did it last week. So the diseases that we're looking at in terms of protists are malaria. Malaria is not it's not caused by mosquitoes. It's actually caused by a protist called Plasmodium. It is transferred to us by mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are a vector. Okay. Prokaryotes are very different to us. They are not eukaryotes. And an easy way to recognize them is they have no nucleus. Okay? All right. So, looking very carefully at some of them, I'm going to start with athlete's foot. Athlete's foot is a disease caused by fungi. It's a fungus. Now, when we look at a picture of yeast, you'll see a nucleus, mitochondria, cytoplasm, and cell membrane. These are present in all eukaryotes, including us. Some of them have a cell wall. Plants have a cell wall. Fungi have a cell wall. Animals do not. Now, cell walls for fungi are made from chitin. For plants, they're made for cellulose. But we're only looking at fungi today because we're looking at pathogens. Now, the protists, and I really don't like, I've said it, I don't like a lot of notes that you young ones get. None of these things here, well, none of these, most of these have nothing to do with any kind of thing that you guys will learn. So I don't care about micronucleus, I don't care about mouth pore, I don't care about anal pore, I really don't care about food vacuole, and actually I don't care about macronucleus, I just care the fact that it's got a nucleus. Cilia we've looked at in humans when we looked at specialized cells, and to be honest, I don't really care about contractile vacuole either. This is a protist. It is not a plant, it is not an animal, it's not a fungi, it's somewhere in between. They're really cool. You need to know that it's caused by, malaria is caused by a protist. I like the word plasmodium, you need to get used to it. And it is transmitted by mosquitoes. Okay. The kind of last thing I really want to, well, the penultimate thing I really want to talk about is bacteria. You will notice bacteria, and I said it last time, it's really small, but notice there is no nucleus. And that is an easy way to recognize a prokaryote. It has no nucleus. All right, viruses cause disease. They are not alive. All right. We do not class them as living. They do not respire. And we looked at Mrs. Gren and how we class something as alive. Something that is alive must have all of these, not one, not two, must have all of them for us to class them being alive. Viruses do not respire. They have no mechanism for respiring. Therefore, we do not class them as alive. Okay, so we're going to start off with 10 easy questions. I've recorded this, and it should be very brief. It's been pretty fast. It's about 7 minutes. If you are new to this session, you're more than welcome. I'm going to convert the recording of this intro. I'm going to put it over here, name my work. And then, after, I'd hopefully say 10 minutes, 15 minutes, we're going to go through questions on microorganisms, and then I'm going to talk to you about the new add-on, the new bolt-on, the new things that we need to learn about communicable diseases.